have been given training for the last 2 years to the people who are having low skills, and I'm helping them to become perfect at these communication skills. In this live session, I'm going to talk about what is communication and how one can become master at these public speaking skills and communication skills. So as I have mentioned that these are the skills which are very very essential to get a good results in our respective life. So communication skills always plays a vital role to get or to attract many opportunities in our life. So it's always been important, irrespective of the job or whatever that you are doing, whether you are an employee or a college going student or homemaker or doing any business, whatever that you are doing, these skills are very very essential. So that's the reason why I'm always mentioning to my students and my uh, friends to learn these skills, to become master at these skills, so that it will something helpful to them to get somewhat opportunities in their lives. So let's come to the topic of communication skills. What exactly the communication skills? Communication, the term itself that we know, it's not see, it's all about how we are connecting with the people, right? It's not about what is the language that you are using. Communication is all about how best that you are connecting with the people, with the thoughts and ideas whatever that you have in your mind. So that is what exactly the communication. It means sharing of your ideas and thoughts to the other person. That means to an individual or to the groups or to the community. So that is what exactly called communication, right? So in communication there are four mediums, as we all know that. One is oral communication, that means verbal communication. Second one is non-verbal communication, and third one is that pictorial communication, and the fourth one is that written communication. Verbal communication is like just I'm using words, right? Whatever the words that you're using, whatever the word that you're using in communication, that communication that we can say that we have done through verbal communication, right? Non-verbal communication is just like using the body postures or the gestures, right? If you are giving any response by using that to the other people or to the other group or the community, that is called non-verbal communication. Pictorial communication is just like by using pictures, by using somewhat elements that we are communicating to the other individuals and other people. That is called pictorial communication. Whereas written communication is all about how, see, like emails, right? See, if any person asks anything, that means the other person is asking about something that we are given the answer in a written format, that is called a written communication, right? Whatever the communication was happened through written, through mails, through text, that is called written communication. So these are the four mediums that are available in communication. Right, sir? So now the question arises, how one can become master at these communication skills. As I have mentioned that communication is all about how you are preparing the other person mind to receive your ideas and thoughts, whatever that you have in your mind. Sometimes what happens means we will communicate to our subordinates, we will communicate to our staff members, we will communicate to our family members. They are not doing that work very properly. By the time what we will get means we will get somewhat, anger will come. We feel somewhat disappointed towards the end result. See, whatever the subordinates are doing. See, in such instances, whatever the see whose fault is that, that's completely your fault. That means the sender's fault. Communication, who is doing the communication, that person's fault. He has to tell that, he has to communicate to the other person in a clear manner. Unless until he provides the data in a clear manner, he provides his thoughts and ideas in a clear manner, how the receiver can receive that ideas and how he can implement that, right, sir? So it's always been important how best that you are convincing the other people with your ideas and thoughts. That is what exactly important in communication. So always put focus on your ideas and thoughts and how best that you are convincing the other people to receive your message, to receive your ideas and thoughts, whatever that you have in your mind. Sender, receiver, right, sir? So this is the process of the communication, right? Whatever the sender sends the message to the receiver, receiver receives, right? During that process, by using the channel medium, by using channel, message comes to the media channel in the form of encoding, right? After that, this channel decodes the message and sends to the receiver. This is sender, this is receiver. Whatever the message comes, it encodes. From there, it decodes and receives to the receiver, right sir? Now what happen means, whenever the receiver receives the message from the sender, this receiver has to send the feedback to the sender. Unless until this sender receives the message from this receiver, there is no proper communication happens. Understand clearly. Whatever that you are communicating to the other person, for example, the sender is you and the receiver is your audience. You are sending your message to your audience, right? And the process was happened in between, right? So it encodes from there, from this channel, through this channel it decodes and receives to the receiver. Now this receiver, the other person, the other individual, the group of this receiver part has to send the feedback to the sender. Then only we can say it's a complete, you know, communication was happened. Unless until the sender receives the feedback from the receiver, we can't say that there is a proper communication happened. So you should always put focus on this feedback part. That means whenever you are communicating to the individual or whenever you are communicating to the other person, it's always been important that you should receive feedback from the receiver. That is what exactly important in communication. Communication is not about just you are speaking, right? You should get somewhat response from your audience, from the other person with whom that you are communicating. Unless until you are communicating with the other person, what's the use to communicate with the others, right? There is no meaning. There is no meaning for the communication, right? You should get somewhat feedback from the receiver. This is sender, receiver. When sender receives the feedback from this receiver, then only complete communication happened. If you want to become a perfect at these communication skills, you must understand this process first, right sir? Unless until you understand this process, you can't become perfect at these communication skills. So you should always put focus on this process part, right? Then you can understand practically how you can become master at this public speaking skill. For example, I'm speaking with you, with you people through live. Maybe now I will not get any response, but after some time I will get somewhat response from the people. From I will get somewhat feedback from the people, right, sir, about this communication part. See, unless until I get the feedback from the people, I can't say that there is a proper communication has happened, right? Once I receive the feedback from the receivers, from the audience, from the other people, by using this medium, then only I can say that there's a perfect communication has happened, right? But here exactly what happened, where we have to put focus is, you should put focus on feedback part, right? So you should get that feedback from the people. Now comes to the part of how one can become a master at these communication skills, right? We understood that what is communication and what is the process of that communication, right? Now how to become master at this public and these communication skills, right? If you want to become a perfect communication skills, you need to think before you speak, right sir? For an example, before delivering this, before coming into the live, I think myself on which topic that I have to give live presentation, which topic that I have to communicate to the my audience. Like that I have decided, right? That means before I'm speaking to you guys, I should think first, right? Whenever you are connecting with other individual, whenever you're talking with another individual, you need to think first, then you speak. Because once you utter the word from your word, you can't take back, right? So always try to provide correct data to the people, so that you should think before you speak. That is the number one, and that is the key factor of effective communication, right? So we should provide correct data to the people, right? Unless until we provide the correct data, people won't believe us. So you should provide correct data and complete data. So before you are speaking anything with the other individual or the other group or the community, it's always been important that you should think before you speak. That is the first thing that you need to put into practice to become perfect at communication skills, right sir? After that, After thinking before you speak, what you need to do means you need to put your entire focus on your body language, how you are speaking, right? How you are using your gestures and postures, because body language plays a vital role in communication. Basing on your body language, people could easily understand whether this person is speaking true or not, right? So always audience are super smart. You don't underestimate the audience, right? You don't convince audience without having a proper content. So what's my point exactly here is you must uh, maintain the body language. You should know your dress sense, you should know how you are using your postures and gestures. So you should be careful about all these things whenever you are communicating with other person or the group or an individual. See, there may be a chance that you will get whenever you are in your office to represent 10 or 15 people. So that in such instance you need these skills, right? Even in home also you need to maintain all the people, right sir? With your convincing skills you need to convince them, right? So you must be a perfect at these communication skills. Unless until you are perfect at these communication skills, how can you convince your team members, how can you convince your family members, right sir? So you should put focus on this part, right? So your body language plays a very vital role whenever you are communicating to the other people. So these are the two things that you need to put focus, right? And the third most important point is confidence. You must show your contagious enthusiasm. For an example, if you give me the topics regarding to communication, public speaking, entrepreneurship, leadership, soft skills, I'm ready to speak at any dais, at any point of time, because I'm thoroughly prepared with that. So I can show that enthusiasm. I'm very passionate about to speak about those languages. I'm ready to communicate whatever the content that I have, what are the ideas that I have in my mind. So I must show that enthusiasm towards the audience whenever I get a chance. So you too must show that contagious enthusiasm. When you will show that enthusiasm means once you have a knowledge in your hand, definitely you will show that enthusiasm, right sir? That means confidence is very very important in order to become master at these communication skills. So you need to maintain that, right sir? You need to show that contagious enthusiasm towards your talk. Then only the other person, the other individual can listen your words. Then only the other group or community listen you very carefully. So you need to be very careful enough uh, in order to become a master at these public speaking skills and communication skills. And you must be attentive, you must be an active listener to your audience, to the other person, to the other group with whom that you're communicating. You are only the one person speaking in their communication. See, that is called one way communication, right? There is, you will not get a proper response from the other people. If you want to get proper response from the other people, you have to give chance to the other persons, right sir? So you must pay attention towards your audience, towards your group, towards the other person with whom that you are communicating. So you should always give time to the other person to talk. You should always listen him what he is saying, right? You should take that points also into consideration. Basing on that you need to talk, right sir? So that is what exactly important in this communication. So you should always put focus on this listening part, right? You must listen towards the other person, right? And the most important point is that you should always talk in audience perspective, right? You should always whatever the talk that you are, whatever that you are communicating with other persons, you should take into consideration of other person. Then the other person feels something towards a great towards you, right sir? So you should always take into consideration of audience. You should not in your favor. You should always take into consideration of audience, basing on the audience interest, basing on the audience group. You should provide your content, you should provide your data, you should talk towards that. Then only you can become a master at this public speaking skill and communication skills. So these are the things that you need to put focus in order to become a master at communication, right sir? So these are things that you need to work on. So you should always think before you speak, and you should always put focus on your body language part. You should always show somewhat contagious enthusiasm. That means you must have a confidence. So these are the factors which will help you to become master at communication skills. And you must listen what the other person is saying in communication. Then not be like a one-way communication. You have to give chance to the other person to speak in the communication, right? The more that you give chance to the other person, the more that attractive the communication will be. So you should always give chance to the others to speak, right? You are the only one person to speak in communication. What's use, right, sir? So you have to give chance to the other person to speak. And most important thing is that you should always prepare your content, your talk, your words always into audience point of view, and not in your own interest, right? Should, if you are taking their views, if you are taking them into consideration, they are easily get connected to your words, they are easily get connected to your speech or your words, whatever that you are using. So always put focus on these factors to become effective at communication skills. So ladies and gentlemen, as I have mentioned many times, these communication skills are essential irrespective of the job, whatever that you are doing. So always try to learn these skills, try to become perfect at these communication skills and public speaking skills. See, as I have mentioned many times, it's not a talent, it's like a skill. Skill means anyone can learn, right? See, initially everybody will feel somewhat low at these communication skills, but gradually when you are putting focus on these things, definitely one day that you can become perfect at these communication skills. If you want to get more details about these communication skills and public speaking skills, and if you want to start your public speaking journey, you can drop your mail id, or you can contact me through mail, so that I will give somewhat suggestions and how to start your journey and how can you become perfect at communication skills. And I'm always ready to help from my side uh, to improve your skills. So if you're one such person wants to improve your communication and public speaking skills, please go to my about section in YouTube. You will find my email ID. Just you can drop your message through mail, so that I'll get back and my team will get back to you. Definitely we will provide you the wonderful training. Definitely will make you better at these communication skills. This is all about communication and how to become master at these communication skills. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this live. Thank you.